classification of law, if you look at the small diagram we see here, you will see how law was linked to, broadly classified into three. The public law, international law, and private law. Under these three arms, they have sub-classification. Like in public law, we have the constitutional law and the criminal law. Then international law, we have the public law and private law. Then the private law, we still have private, contract, tort, and trust. These are the major classifications. Then introduction. Law can be classified in different ways. These classifications, however, overlap in real life. So in law can be classified in various ways, but in the real aspect of life, you discover that there are laws that overlap. You can find them in various classifications. So one may study law on a series of subjects such as law of contract, company law, labor law, constitutional law, criminal law, etc. However, if one comes across a real life problem as a legal practitioner, one may need to combine his knowledge of the different subjects to handle such a matter. Now, what he's trying to say is that in real life, you can, in the two aspects of it, these laws are separated, classified into various laws. But in real life, there might be some issues that may come up. You discover that within the narration of that story, you will see aspects of contract law in it. You can equally find aspects of criminal law in it. You can equally find aspects of administration and all other arms of law just in one scenario. So it is now incumbent on the legal practitioner to be able to decipher, to separate all those branches so that he can be able to get justice for his client. So as illustrated, if a person's contract of employment is terminated as a result of an accident at work, which render the person incapable of performing his job, the solicitor must combine his knowledge of law of contract, industrial labor law, and the law of tort in obtaining a claim in the court against for the employer. I've already said that. So following are the major classes of law or classifications of law: public and private law, civil law, already the substantive and procedural law, municipal and international law, written and unwritten law, then common law and equity. Public and private law. Public laws can be defined as the aspect of law that deals with the relationship between the state and its citizen and other states. It is one that governs the relationship between a higher party state and a lower one, the citizen. Example of public law include the constitutional law, administrative law, the law that governs the state of the citizens and the state. Criminal law, international law, those ones are all together as a public law. Then private law. The private law, on the other hand, is the category of law that concerns itself with the relationship amongst private citizens. Example include the law of tort, law of contract, law of trust, and etc. It has to do with the individual. Two persons coming to have a contract, two persons coming together, law of tort. You did this to me, what will be my remedy for committing this against me? So this is private law. Then we look at civil law and civil and criminal law. The civil law in this regard can be defined as aspect of law that deals with relationship between citizens and provide means of remedy. That's civil law. It deals between individuals, citizens, and provides remedy once a wrong is seen to be committed. Example of civil law include the law of contract, law of tort, family law, etc. Criminal law, on the other hand, it can be referred as an aspect of law that regulates crime in society. It punishes acts which are considered harmful to the society at large. An example of criminal law is the Criminal Code Act, which is applicable in southern part of Nigeria. So that is the example of criminal law. Criminal law has to do with the protection of the society, like stealing, armed robbery, such things are viewed that once it's committed, it is against the society, and such matter is being handled by the state. So when you do criminal law, it is the standard of proof that must be adduced in evidence so that the person can be convicted. We have substantive and procedural law. Substantive law is the main body of law dealing with a particular area of law. For example, the substantive law in relation to criminal law includes criminal acts and penal codes. These are two substantive law. The procedural law, on the other hand, is the law in that deals with the process which the courts must follow in order to enforce substantive law. Example includes the rules of various laws, administration of Criminal Justice Act, which stipulates the procedure. What I want to explain here is that in this substantive and procedural law, for example, somebody committed a murder. Everybody knows that the matter in question is the murder. So, but there is what we call the procedure. How did you get the evidence? Did you submit it? Was there any picture? Did you conduct an autopsy to ascertain that what led to the death of the victim is a result of the action of the person that's being accused? So these are the procedures. Once those procedural laws are not properly taken care of, you may find out that at the end of the day, the substantive law may not have any effect. So two of them work together to make sure that justice prevails. Municipal or domestic and international law. This is the aspect of law that originates from and has effect on members of specific state or country. Example of Municipal Nigerian Law is the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, which applies in Nigeria only. The law applies in Nigeria only. When you're outside this shop, you cannot use the law that is obtained here in Nigeria. For instance, let me give you an example. The Nigerian law says that man and woman cannot marry. But all over abroad, Nigerians may get married. That's a same-sex marriage. You cannot criminalize it there. But once they are in Nigeria, it is unlawful. International law, on the other hand, is the law between countries. It regulates the relationship between different independent countries, and it's usually in the form of treaties, international custom. ETC. Examples of international law include the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and African Charter on Human and People's Rights. It should be noted that according to the provision of Section 12 of 1999 Constitution as amended, international treaties cannot have the force of law in Nigeria except they are enacted by the Nigerian National Assembly. Now, the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended in 1999 says that none of these international laws will have effect on Nigerian citizens unless it's enacted. That's why you hear when they say they want to domesticate a law. Once you hear domestication of a law, it means that there is a treaty or there is a law, an international law that Nigeria want to subscribe to. They will domesticate it to make it a part of the legal system in Nigeria before it can count. We have written and unwritten laws. A law will not be regarded as written just because it is written down in a document. Written laws are those laws that have been validly enacted by the legislature of a country. Unwritten laws, on the other hand, are those laws that are not enacted by legislature. They include both customary and case law. Customary law, as a part of its basic characteristics, is generally unwritten. Case law, though written down in a documentary format, will be regarded as unwritten law based on the fact that it's not enacted by legislators. So they are very clear. Legislators are those men and women that we elected as our representative. Say, like in Nigeria, we have the Senate and the House of Reps. At the federal level, at the state level, we have the House of Assembly, and the local government, we have the councillors. They make laws. So those laws that they make are all written laws. They are written. So with those ones that are made by the pronouncement of court judgment, they are virtually unwritten law. And those laws that equally emanate from the custom of the people, they are all unwritten laws. So an example of this is the good neighbor principle established in the case of Donoe and Stevie. The principle posited that manufacturers of products should take utmost care in their manufacturing activities to ensure that the consumption of their product doesn't result in harm to the customer. This principle is enacted in a statute, but it's a case law applicable in Nigeria. Common law and equity. Common law was developed by King's Bench, the Court of Common Pleas, and the Court of Exchequer. The history of common law was traceable to the period immediately after the Norman conquest of 1066 AD. Common law grew from the common custom of the people of England and Wales. In practice, common law is very strict, formal, and full of legalism. The rules seem to be very stiff. Course of action, unless a claimant came within scope of existing rule. There's always a rule procedure that if you feel that such wrong has been done to you, you must follow a procedure to get remedy. Otherwise, you will not get remedy. So if not, he will be left without any remedy. Even where he gets a writ to fit his claim, he may not be able to get an effective remedy at the common law. Given the obvious injustice at common law, plaintiffs who could not get remedies started sending petition to the king to use his prerogative to do justice. In view of the seeming injustice under the common law, equity was introduced to ameliorate the defects of the common law. Equity means fairness, just, natural justice, moral rights, good. Both common law and equity were applied side by side under the English law. So, equity came to cure the deficiencies of common law. So, two of them were applied simultaneously in English law. Let's go to the next one. As you can see from the foregoing classification, there is no watertight classification of law. For example, so much of Nigerian law, land law, is now public law with the enactment of Land Use Act. While the law of taxation is much private law as is public. Also, the line between civil and criminal law is rather fluid as both overlap. A wrong such as assault is